All right, I want to show you this. Now it's kind of hazy. It's because I just used just a polishing compound. I haven't got any, or actually, excuse me, a rubbing compound, something pretty harsh. But I did half the trunk, and as you can see, there's still marks in here. Something I can't get out. You know, that's actually chipped. This felt like it was a bug or something in it. But anyway, I got rid of a lot of the big scratches. Of course, they're still there, and it's swirled. Like I said, this is the rubbing compound. But to put that in perspective, this is what it looked like when I started. So yes, this looks shinier, but it's scratched up. And like I said, it's because this is just an initial rub. I almost think I ought to color sand a little first, but I don't know how thick this paint is. I know the edges are real thin, so I can only guess this close. And that paint is thin in several places on this anyway, so I'm not really worried about it. But it did get the majority of the big ugly scratches out, and I got a polishing compound, and then of course I'll wax it afterwards, and that'll make a big difference. So anyway, I'll make it kind of a video after I'm finished with it. And I haven't really done the quarters yet, top of the quarters, but like I said, it's obvious. I don't think I'm going to get that scratch out. I just don't see it. However, it did take a lot of that one out. That it's pretty deep. I've only gone over actually that center section just once. This is probably gone over a couple, 3 times, because it had, you can't see them, I don't believe, but there are still some pretty good scratches in it. I see a long one. I can't see it right there, but anyway, it's working. It's work. The reason I'm not showing you anything about how to do this is because I don't want somebody to come back. So I did that same thing to my car, like you showed me, and it just tore all the paint. Well, I'm doing this because I really can't hurt the paint any worse than it already is. And you do it how you want to do it. I'm not going to be responsible for nothing. As a matter of fact, any video you see put on here, I'm not responsible for anything you try that I am doing or have done. Because it's just sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. It's just how it works. And I'm actually using an actual buffer. I bought this thing, well, actually I think it was given to me. It was an old Black & Decker, of course, electric. Well, I think it was like 90 bucks years ago, 98 something, maybe 88, whatever. But it is an actual car buffer. It's not a grinder, so I definitely do not use any type of a grinder. Well, it spins 1 speed. I wish it was variable. I don't think it says a variable on it. No, it don't. It's been a while since I've used it. But anyway, and I'm also not, the pad is old. I shouldn't even be using that. But to cut with, that's a good pad to cut with. And then I'm just using some stuff I just picked up local, you know, like AutoZone or O'Reilly's or whatever, because O'Reilly's actually does carry automotive paint. They probably have a better selection of stuff. I just am not set up to do that kind of stuff. I'm just not. But I don't mind messing with it on my own a little bit here and there. Like I said, I really, as bad as it was scratched, I knew I really couldn't make it a whole lot worse unless I dug into the paint. And matter of fact, I caught that just as I was getting off, and I think I can, might be hard to see, I think that'll buff out. But you got to be careful with those things. Boy, they'll grab. I made sure before I started that these lines are really close before you go over them. And actually the trunk fits, because I just reached my hand in here to see why this was bubbled up. I think I've showed you this, man. Maybe I haven't showed you this video, or a video of this. It's very hard to see. Some of it's dirty, but it's just too dark, I think. Maybe I can get it close enough. Well, anyway, it's bubbled really bad, and you can see where they tried to sand over it. I assume that's mud work, that just I don't know what it is. I don't know if they sprayed it with water in the can. I probably have done something on this video, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, I reached up in there to see what they did on the quarter, how they put it on, and it's actually cut somewhere in here, or they just overlapped it and welded it on. That's not acceptable. Oh, these quarters both have, I don't know if you can see that or not. There's a dent, yeah, I can see it. There's a dent on both sides, right over top of that quarter. And the car was not in an accident. This was them sticking them on there, and they bent this thing up somehow. And I might have done a video on this, I don't know. The paint's thin in a few places, and obviously now it's scratched. And it's very hard to show you because this is the dark side of the garage here. I don't know if I can show you. Forgive the walking around. Oh, I think I'm gonna fall down first. No, it's just too dark. But right here underneath that front bumper, over, it's thin enough I can actually see the primer through it. There's finally trying to come in. I don't know if this camera's picking it up. I'll look at it and see. I'm not going to try to edit it out, but either way, there's tremendous runs down the middle of that door, and then some on that fender. You probably can't pick it up. You can see where they sanded it though. They did a terrible job. This is what happens when you either have family do this or a shop that's not reputable. I'm probably going to do another video, something similar to this. This is hard to see. It probably won't focus in on it because it's just so dark. Nah, it's not going to. Anyway, you can actually see, I'll show you that out in the sunlight someday. You can see the inner and outer. You're not supposed to be able to see the inner lip on that, I don't believe, and you can see that one all the way around. You can't see on the other side, but poor job. It's just a really, really poor body work, poor paint. Well, prep work anyway. The rest of the car isn't so bad. It doesn't have any hail damage on it, which is really typical out here where we're at. But like I said, it's just terrible work. Everywhere I've looked, there's either runs or waves. The car waves to me a lot down especially the sides. I noticed the other day when I was doing a video sitting in a chair, I was looking down this door and I could see several. Now mind you, it did sit in a school parking lot, but I don't see any visible signs of door hitting, like damage on the side of it or whatever, like from a door ding. But anyway, I'm going to get off here. It's enough talking part of it, but it's coming out, and I'll buff it with some a little bit of polish and compound after I get the trunk done, and then see if it gets any better, and then give it a coat of wax. Like I said, it's not perfect. It's never going to be perfect until it's done right again, or done right to begin with. So this is just kind of to show you that you don't have to be an expert to do this. It helps to have somewhat knowledge before you take it to a car that you really like. I actually taught myself on an old 54 Chevy pickup that had really thin paint on it with this same, I've had this thing 25 years, this buffer. And then several years ago, I'll go outside here, forgive the camera jumping all around. It's a bit rainy today, which is actually fine. It's kept the temperature down finally for August 1st. I know I've had this car on here before, and this is actually the reason I started this channel. This car, when I got it, and the reason I picked it up so cheap originally back in 2007 was because the paint was faded just like you see it. And now the hood is actually primered black, and the quarter on the other side is gray. From the previous video, you've seen it. The kid who had it, high school, graduation, prom, I don't know what the heck it was, and he decided that he wanted to take that rubber spray crap that you buy from Walmart, or I don't know where you get it from, but you put your year you graduate or your football number or whatever it is, and they did it in the local colors for the school, and anyway, he did all that, and then realized after he left it on there 2 or 3 days that this paint was so dry that it absorbed that stuff in and it wouldn't come off. And I guess he said, "Daddy, I need a new car," or whatever, and so instead of trying to fix it or clean it up, he ended up buying another car, and that's how I ended up with this. Well, I had to scrape a lot of that stuff off because it wouldn't even come off. It's, they're being rubber based. It was terrible, so it scratched this up, and it was already chipping the paint pretty good. But I'd used that buffer on it, and I just used one for a headlight cleaner the other day, just in this one little spot. And this is, I bet, a month and a half ago. So it's not shiny by any means now, but this paint will actually buff out and get a shine to it. Now it looks bad because of the primer that's on it now, and because of all this, the paint's burned through in several places, and the car is now scuffed up real bad and beat up. But 10 years ago, matter of fact, it was July, August, 10 years ago, I buffed this car out, and it actually looked really good when I was done with it. So you can actually buff a lot of this stuff out on these old cars. Now this one is beyond that. You can see the clear coat's coming off of it in several places. That's not ate the paint. I'll get a video on this car sometime. I actually sanded that down. I used a scuffing pad, and I used that stuff you can buy. I think it was pretty good stuff. And I put about 2-3 coats outside, right here above this door, right there above that handle of clear coat, and it didn't last. Within 2-3 weeks, it started fading out, and now it's wet. You can't really see it, but it's actually faded right back the way it was. So, but anyway, I thought about throwing some clear on this car, but it's just a work car. It's never going to be worth a whole lot. Anyway, I'm going to get back in there and get after it, and we'll talk to you guys later.